Hello, Recruit, and welcome to an Astroneer Academy Extra covering printers and item tier sizes. 2 weeks ago, we discussed how you can unlock item schematics in the research catalog using research bytes. Today, we will investigate how to use each printer to create those items and discuss the various item tier sizes. Let's jump right in, starting with the backpack printer. Every Astroneer suit comes equipped with a backpack printer located at the bottom of their backpack. To use it, simply open your backpack. If you open the Astropedia and consult the 5th page of the Astroneer Basics section, you'll find more details on the backpack printer. Its operation is quite simple. The left side contains a slot for the resource required to print an item. In order to print an item, you must be carrying the required resource in your backpack. If you are, the button in the middle of the printer will illuminate green, and you can select that button to begin printing. The slot to the right indicates the item you will be crafting. When you print an item in your backpack printer, it will begin printing in this slot, but will automatically move to an empty storage slot in your backpack when it is completed. If you do not have any empty storage slots, the newly printed item will simply fall to the ground. The 2 directional buttons at the bottom of the backpack printer allow you to scroll through printer items that you have unlocked in the research catalog. As you cycle through the items in the backpack printer, the required resource will automatically relocate to the printer's input slot if you are carrying that resource in your backpack. Your backpack printer will consume 3 units of power for each item that it prints. If your backpack battery has less than 3 units of power, you will be unable to print from your backpack. In order to resume printing from your backpack, you need to recharge it. You can recharge your backpack by either connecting to a tether line that has power or utilizing a small power producer connected to your backpack. The remaining 3 printers are all automatically unlocked in the research catalog when you begin a new adventure. So let's begin with the small printer. As we discussed in Astroneer Academy 101, you will be rewarded with a small printer for completing the first mission, Planetfall. However, you can create additional small printers if you wish. A small printer is printed from your backpack printer using 1 compound. The small printer does not require any platform to function and will feature 2 power cable plugs when it is freestanding. You can connect the small printer to a platform if you desire, though you will want to ensure that that platform is connected to your power network. You will need to use the small printer and 2 compound in order to create a medium printer. Unlike the small printer, the medium printer must be placed on a platform that is connected to your power network in order to function. That platform must have at least 1 medium tier 2 storage slot available. The large printer is created on the medium printer from 3 compound. It too must be placed on a platform that is connected to your power network in order for it to function. That platform must have at least 1 large tier 3 storage slot available. In order to use each printer, you simply interact with it to examine it, which opens the printer's control panel. The dots on the left side of a printer's control panel corresponds to the rows in the research catalog. The small printer does contain more dots than the research catalog rows, however, because the small printer can also print some of the items found in the backpack printer tab of the research catalog. If the dot is blue, then that row contains items you have unlocked in the research catalog and are ready to print. If the dot is a magenta color, however, that indicates that no items from that row have been unlocked in the research column. You can navigate up and down through each row of printable items, and you can navigate left and right within each row. You can utilize the directional buttons at the bottom of the printer control panel, or you could use your preferred input method to navigate through the menu. This navigation works the same way as it does in the research catalog, so you can consult the research section of the Astropedia for more information on navigating the menus. If you reach the end of a row while navigating right or left, the printer will automatically move down or up a row respectively. As you navigate through the printer control panel, the selected item will be displayed to the right. This will include a small icon in the upper right that will correspond to the icon that will be displayed on any items that print packaged. You will find a list of resources required to print the selected item just below the name of that item. This will include both the resource symbol and the name of the resource. There are a few different ways to provide resources for a printer to use. You can place the required resources in your backpack storage, and they will automatically be transferred to the printer when you select an item to print. You can also attach the resources to storage slots on the same platform that the printer is connected to. This too will allow the required resources to automatically slot to the printer when you select an item. We will talk about a couple of pro tips for supplying your printers with resources in just a moment. The round button near the middle of the bottom portion of the printers allows you to toggle the repeater functionality. When this button is toggled on, the printer will continue printing the same object over and over until you stop it or until the required resources are no longer available. When this button is toggled off, the printer will only produce one of the selected items. You can easily tell if the repeater functionality is on or off. When it is on, the button appears to be pressed in and the arrows illuminate white. When the repeater functionality is off, the button is raised and the arrows are not illuminated. Once you have supplied the required resources, the button to the bottom right should illuminate bright green, indicating that the printer is ready to begin printing the selected item. Click the button once to open the translucent cover and a second time to begin printing. All four printers share some common elements to assist you in identifying the object you wish to print and their required resources. As you scroll through the items in the printer control panel, the output area of the printer will display a hologram of that selected item. This can help you visually identify items and comes in handy for differentiating between items that have similar names, such as Large Platform A and Large Platform B. Additionally, the resource input slots on the printers will display a hologram of the required resources. If you hover your controls over these resource holograms, they will display not only the name of the required resource, but also where you can locate it and any processing required to obtain the resource. The holograms also include the symbol for each required resource. For example, if you have selected the soil centrifuge on the medium printer's control panel, you will see that these holograms indicate aluminum is found on any planet and is produced by the smelting furnace, and that compound is found on any planet and can be produced by the soil centrifuge. This is an incredibly useful feature as you move into printing items that require more advanced resources or those available only on certain planets. That brings us to the first of two pro tips. While a printer will automatically pull resources from your backpack if you have them stored there, you can also quick stow resources onto a printer. Simply shift-click the hologram and, if you are carrying the appropriate resource, it will automatically move from your backpack to the printer. This works with the controller as well. Simply place the simulation cursor over the hologram on the printer, then hit one of the triggers. This handy trick works not only on printers, but on every module that displays a hologram, including the chemistry lab, trade platform, and more. Before we move on to our next topic, let's explore another pro tip. Quick stowing a resource is handy, but you can create an efficient printing operation by taking a moment to create platforms and storage to supply required resources for the printers. Let's say you want to create numerous medium storages at once. You could stand by the small printer and allow it to pull resin from your backpack, repeating the printing process until you have the desired number of medium storages. Or you could attach the small printer to a large platform and add existing medium storages to that platform as well. You can fill all of the available storage with resin before you begin printing. Now, you will be able to select the medium storage and turn on the repeater function and step back as the small printer continues to print additional medium storage until you stop it or until it runs out of resin. This type of configuration will work for all printers. Simply select a platform large enough to accommodate both the printer and additional storage for resources. You can also scale up the storage to accommodate numerous resources at once. Throughout our courses to date, you have heard us reference item sizes numerous times. The small printer is a small tier 1 item. The smelting furnace is a large tier 3 item. The extra large wind turbine is an extra large tier 4 item. But what does all this mean? That's a very good question, Recruit, so let's answer it. Items come in 4 sizes. When Exodynamics first began sending astroneers out to explore, these sizes were referred to as tier sizes. As our training simulation was updated, the language used to describe these sizes switched from tier sizes to more common nomenclature of small, medium, large, and extra large. You can easily identify these item sizes and their corresponding storage slots with a quick visual inspection. The small items, also referred to as Tier 1, have one single attachment point. The corresponding small storage slots are the small single round slots like those found on printers or the sides of your starting shelter. Tier 2 or medium sized objects are the next size up and include 2 attachment points. The medium storage slot appears as 2 small slots connected by a red and black bar. A large or Tier 3 item has 4 attachment points. The large storage slot will appear as 2 medium storage slots connected by a red and black bar. Depending on your perspective of that platform, the large storage slot may appear as an uppercase I or rather wide uppercase H. The final item size is extra large or Tier 4. There are no items with clearly visible extra large attachment points, but you can identify an extra large storage slot quite easily. It will appear as 2 large storage slots once again connected by a red and black bar. The storage slots are quite versatile, allowing you to connect items in numerous ways. While a Tier 1 slot can only ever have a single Tier 1 item attached to it, that is not true for the larger slots. A Tier 2 slot can have a single Tier 2 item attached, or it can hold 2 Tier 1 items. A Tier 3 can hold a single Tier 3 item, 2 Tier 2 items, or 4 Tier 1 items. Or you can mix it up and attach a single Tier 2 item and 2 Tier 1 items. Since each increasing tier slot size is essentially a pair of the previous tier slot size, you are able to mix and match items attached in those slots to meet your needs. The items printed in your backpack will all be small items. Items printed on the small printer will typically be medium items, but they are produced inside of small packages that you must interact with to open. As discussed earlier, there are a few exceptions on the small printer, as it can produce a handful of items that are also created in your backpack printer. The medium printer will create large items that are produced inside of medium packages. Following this progression, you have probably already realized that the large printer will create extra large items that are packaged inside of large packages. But why do objects print inside of smaller packages? Why aren't they just printed and ready to use like the items from the backpack printers? Well, that's a good question. While I do not have an official answer from Exodynamics, I think it is safe to assume that these packages are used to simplify transporting and placing each object, especially when it comes to extra large items. When you are carrying an extra large item, you are unable to walk. You can walk when carrying a large item though, so you can move that large package around with greater ease. You can also attach these packaged items onto storage and then attach that storage to a vehicle to transport the item to a different location. By having each item packaged one tier size smaller, you are able to attach more items to your vehicle storage, allowing you to move more items to a location at once instead of making multiple trips. The size of objects will come into play again when we discuss shredders and scrap in Astroneer Academy 203. Today, you have become familiar with the 4 printers and their operation. You have also learned about the 4 different tier sizes and how to visually identify storage slots by tier size. Later today, you will learn how research can be aided by finding watermelons under duck butts. I promise that sentence will make sense. Next week, we will discuss basic transportation in Astroneer Academy 106. Until then, I'm Brandon, reminding you to keep looking to the stars.